lot of different locations on site. They just roll here and move along their own weight. Now these elevated tracks lead from a conveyor belt. The conveyor belt leads from some tracks on the ground. The important thing about the tracks on the ground, they're tripping hazards. So as you walk this way, as you watch your step.
No, I'm look at that.
All right. So as we get around this trailer here, get a good look at these big cisterns here. That may be a good indicator that we're heading towards cistern room where they fill the barrels. So our White Dog whiskey, our brand new whiskey, is going to come off our stills around 140 proof, maybe lower, depending on the product. It gets pumped all the way over here where we have to process that whiskey for barreling. Now the important part about putting whiskey in the barrels is that legally we can't put the whiskey in the barrels higher than 125 proof. So we'll get to add crisp clear filtered water, bring it down to 125 proof or lower, and then this little room right here, feel free to walk up to the chain, get a good look inside. They will fill about 8 barrels at a time. Each barrel we fill up to around 53 gallons. They will hammer in not in that box. They will hammer in a poplar bomb, and the barrels will roll down. And that yellow machine you can see in there, which is an inkjet printer, it's going to print the lot number, date fill, mash bill, name of the distillery on the head of the barrel. Then the barrel will continue to roll down to the end of the line where there'd be some employees just on the other side of that door to make sure there's no major leaks, nothing catastrophic going wrong with the barrels. If they're all good, they get put into these tracks behind me where they roll down to any of those warehouses over there, or to some semi-trucks where we can cart them to any warehouse at all. Now we have the capacity to store about 1.8 million barrels here in Franklin County. Nearly every single one of those barrels is still in that little room right there. And another sort of fun fact, more about the legalities in making bourbon, is that there's no age statement required to call something bourbon. The moment that 125 proof or lower whiskey touches the inside of those new charred oak barrels, you can technically call that bourbon whiskey. I personally wouldn't call it very good, but you can call it bourbon. Now, anyone have any questions about filling barrels at all?
Why poplar? That's dumb.
Why poplar? It's cheap.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. It's cheap. Mostly because anytime you have to get into the barrel, you're going to end up breaking it. So if it's made out of an expensive white oak you could use to make the barrel, you're just going to break it every time you have to get in. So poplar's just cheaper, easier. Yeah, that's mostly it.
Does the water matter?
Does the water matter? Yes. So the sort of the cork for it's the poplar, but the water is really important. The main thing for proofing is you want it to be dechlorinated, because city water, they're going to put in different salts. The chlorides that they put in are going to keep the germs away from you. Problem is those chlorides also react strangely with some of the chemicals in the wood and create some pretty nasty flavors. So we need to make sure our water is dechlorinated and get as close to pure water as we can. So we're going to reverse osmosis filter our water 3 times. Get as close to pure water as we can for all of our proofing. The hard water stuff, the calcium magnesium deposits that people talk about, the limestone filtered aquifers and stuff, that's far more important for fermentation. Those things act like vitamins for the yeast. But for proofing, that's not really that big of a deal. It might make it taste a little bit different, but that's just in the same way that if you use city water versus spring water to make tea, it tastes different. But yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
You said 100% of the color comes from the barrel. Is it perfectly clear when it goes in?
Yes, it will look exactly like water, which is why whenever we go over new hire safety training, they say, don't drink anything. You don't smell first. If you see something in a bottle and you don't know what it is, smell it before you try and drink it. If you see a puddle on the ground, smell it. If it smells like alcohol, call somebody. If it smells like water, don't worry about it. Or maybe call somebody if it's. But yeah, it will look perfectly clear.
For the BTAC stuff, is it all done in here too?
Yeah, Every barrel is filled in there. So this is all brand new barrel stuff. So they'll fill the barrels in here for something like George T. Stagg. It's in here, put it in the warehouse 15, 16 years later, they'll pull it out. And then they'll empty it in a different building, which we'll talk about here in a second.
Do you not work on Saturdays?
Not usually.
No, I mean, do they not fill bottles?
Not usually.
Okay.
So the most of the working areas we're going to see today is barrel team. They predominantly work first shift. So they're mostly working 7 to 3 Monday to Friday. There are like skeleton crews that help with craft bottling and second and third shift, but it's predominantly first shift. They're in that 8-ish hours every Monday to Friday. They're going to fill somewhere in here. They're going to fill somewhere between 1,800 and 2,000 barrels a day. So yeah.
So you can't do tours during that time because it's very busy.
Yeah, we do. We give tours during that time. We just have to stay out of the way when they're like rolling barrels. But yeah, no, we bring tours through here. If you want to, feel free to come by during work days. I don't work work days, so you'll get a different tour guide. And we don't have really strict scripts. So it'll be a different tour even if they're on break or something like that. So feel free to come back and it's free.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to keep moving though. We're going to start to head this way. A little bit back way we can, but we'll go this way. We use a lot of water here. Distillation, fermentation, cleaning, most of it isn't safe for us to just drop back in the water table. So we have a brand new wastewater treatment plant filters anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million gallons of water a day. It drops it safely into a creek, feeds the Kentucky River. Now we're going to head to the regate room, which is one of the areas that our dogs cannot visit.
That's fine.
I'll try to talk loud enough that you can hear me outside the door, but I should make no guarantees. All right, I think we got everybody in here now. So this building that we're in right now, this is the regauge room. This is where we empty the whiskey out of the barrels and begin processing it for bottling. So they'll roll the barrels through a little orange door over here. A hydraulic lift picks at the barrels, sets at the top of the line, and you can see hanging here at the top of the line is a big power drill. That power drill is a fancy corkscrew. They'll drill into the bung that corks the barrel and then just pop it right out. After that, they'll take these metal straws hanging on the guardrail, stick that into the barrel because it helps the whiskey pour out of it. These wheels carry the barrel. It'll hit this little ramp, it turned over on its side, and then dump whiskey out into this trough the whole way down. And very importantly, in this trough, there's a mesh filter. I don't know if I'm tall enough for this, but in this mesh filter, we will use it to filter out most of the char from the inside of the whiskey. Now, if we didn't filter out this char, you got chunky whiskey. Heard some people like chunky peanut butter. I don't think most people like chunky whiskey. Now, when we get to make an uncut, unfiltered product, say George T. Stagg, William Weller, Thomas H. Handy, typically what they'll do for those smaller batch products is take boxes, just like these sitting behind us, fill them up from those blue spigots right next to our heads, and they can cart these things off a forklift off to the bottling hall. Most of those high-proof barrel strength products, they're typically ready to go into the bottle the moment they come out of the barrel for the most part. Now, if we're not doing a barrel strength or high-proof product, typically what they'll also want to do is they'll want to rinse the barrels. So you can see at the other end of the trough is a big hose hanging down. That hose is a station where a worker can fill the barrels up with a few gallons of water. They'll put in a temporary bung, and the barrels will roll down to these tracks you can see in between the two troughs. Now, hanging over these tracks is a big conveyor belt. Conveyor belt will grab onto the barrels, slow down its rotation, so the water they put in has enough time to pick up all that whiskey that didn't come out the first time. Dump that out in that other trough over there. They filter that stuff for char, and that water whiskey mixture is what they'll first use to proof the whiskey down towards its bottle strength. Whiskey coming out of these barrels is usually much higher proof than what goes in the bottle. Something like Buffalo Trace, for example, probably going to come out of these barrels around 135 proof or so on average. It's a coarse bottle. Nice. So we get to add, once again, crisp, clear, filtered water, bring it down to an appropriate level product recipe. Wait a little while. We'll make that. Now, anyone have any questions about emptying barrels at all? Beginning processing to bottling?
Building temperature control.
No.
In any way. Not.
So you can see there's a big radiator right there, and then you can also see under that radiator is the fan. That's it. That's it. Yeah, it was fun last week.
I say I manually get out a lot of heat.
Yeah. These guys have their work cut out for them. So yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, there's no other questions. We'll start with them. So we're gonna hit right back out the single game.